This commentary is pertaining to 46-year-old David Batts, who went into Knox County Detention Center, their custody, earlier in the month from an incident that took place at the CAT bus depot, which is the Knoxville area transit system, incident with a bus. And he ended up having to go to the hospital for a mental evaluation. Allegedly, he touched a nurse inappropriately. That's the allegation. And so he was arrested and then sent to the jail. And that's how all this craziness took place. I'm going to give you a little bit of bio on the story, and then we'll go into the video. Thank you for your time. If you'd like to donate to this great network, $BeganG 129 Cash App. Stickers and chats are welcome during the live stream. And thank you all for the wonderful birthday wishes. Tomorrow is the big day. Queen will be 54 years of age. God is good. Thank you for your time. KNOX News is the source, everybody. A Knoxville man died after being held by Knox County Sheriff's Office jailers at the Roger D. Wilson Detention Facility for less than a day. Knox County has learned David Batts, 46, was admitted to a local hospital following a short stay at the jail sometime on January 7th. With several cuts and an extremely bruised and swollen face, he died January 8th. Batts' death occurred 5 days after the Knox County Sheriff's Office SWAT team. I'll go ahead and throw this in here. Batts' death occurred 5 days after the Knox County Sheriff's Office SWAT team shot and killed 18-year-old Devon Montez St. Germain while serving a search warrant at a South Knox County home January 3rd. A review by Knox newsletter showed the SWAT team is not equipped with body cameras, and it is unlikely there will be a video of St. Germain's encounter with deputies. Now, that's another case that took place in South Knoxville of a young high school student where they were serving a warrant. Batts originally was taken to the University of Tennessee Medical Center earlier in the day, January 7th, after an incident with a Knoxville area transit bus. Batts, an employee of CAT, and that's the name of our transit system, CAT, K-A-T, was brought to UT for a mental evaluation, but left the hospital in handcuffs and in the custody of the Knoxville Police Department after 2 nurses reported he groped them. KNOX News has not independently confirmed the circumstances surrounding Batts' death. Lance Baker, a lawyer representing Batts' family, released a statement to KNOX News on January 9th that said Batts was tased and struck multiple times by Knox County officers at the jail. KNOX News has filed multiple public records requests for video footage of Batts from both KPD and the Knox County Sheriff's Office, but none has been provided. It can take weeks or longer for video requests to be fulfilled. Now, this article was uploaded January 14th, okay? The video is now out. So just know that this content I'm reading to you is a little while ago. So he's been taken to the hospital for an incident at the CAT bus depot, okay? He goes to the hospital. 2 nurses say he groped them. Don't know if it's true or not, but that's what's being said, which led him to be arrested and then go to jail, in case you're curious. It says KNOX News has filed multiple public records requests for the video, pertaining to Mr. Batts. And it could take weeks, but once again, as I said, the video is now out. We have reviewed the video from the initial encounter at the CAT bus terminal, as well as from the transportation wagon. KPD officers did not use any force to detain Batts at the bus terminal. Now, I do not have that footage, but the KNOX News saying they've seen it. He was completely alert and appeared fine physically when he left the ambulance, KPD spokesperson Scott Erlin told KNOX News in an email. He also appears to be fine throughout the duration of the ride in the transportation wagon from the hospital. He was awake, alert, and walked into the Roger D. Wilson Center under his own power when he left our care. A sheriff's office spokesperson did not respond to questions about BATTS' death. Likewise, a spokesperson for the Knox County District Attorney's Office did not respond to a question about whether the office was investigating BATTS' death. A spokesperson for the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation said the agency has not been asked to investigate BATTS' death. What we know about BATTS' last day: police were called. At 11:23 a.m., January 7th, Knoxville police were called to CAT Bus Depot on Magnolia Avenue because a man in a face mask got into a CAT bus driver's seat and rolled the bus backwards into another CAT vehicle. He was detained without incident, according to an incident report. So, many of you are going to say, well, what's going on? Why was he on the bus? My understanding, he worked for CAT. You will see this when I turn the video on. He has on a work jacket with his name on it, and also Knoxville Area Transit name on the jacket. So allegedly he worked for CAT, and my understanding from a previous article, he was a maintenance worker. So perhaps he went there to check the bus out. But it's believed he was under the influence of narcotics, and that's possibly why he got in the bus seat and rolled into the other bus, because he wasn't aware of his faculties. Okay, he was high. We'll just say allegedly he was high. The man was identified as BATTS, a CAT employee who was apparently having some personal issues, Erlin told Knox News in an email. BATTS had clocked in the day before at 5:49 p.m., but never clocked out and seemed out of it, according to the report. Officers found a substance they believed to be heroin on him, but instead of arresting BATTS, KPD officers cited him for simple possession, a misdemeanor, and sent him to the UT Medical Center for a mental evaluation, according to the report. So how was he acting? Because this is the jump off to how all this started. Got on the bus, got in the driver's seat, rolled it into another car. The incident report was called, another CAT vehicle. They obviously saw signs that he was inebriated. Police come. Small substance found on him, which is believed to be decided to send him to UT Medical Center for an evaluation. Hospital visit and assault. Were called to UT Medical Center because two nurses reported BATTS had groped them. Both decided to press charges, according to a copy of the arrest report. Officers were given access to security footage that showed the assaults, according to the report. BATTS was discharged from the hospital when officers arrived, and he was arrested. So that means they called the police, filed a report that he groped them, allegedly. He was discharged, and the officers arrived and they arrested him. A spokesperson for the hospital did not respond to a list of questions from Knox News, including what condition BATTS was in the hospital. A call from Knox News to the hospital's media line was not returned. Booked in jail. Knox News could not confirm the time BATTS was booked into the Knox County Jail, but Erlin, the KPD spokesperson, said BATTS was awake and alert when he walked into the jail, which you will see on this video here. A sheriff's office spokesperson did not respond to questions about what happened to BATTS inside the jail. Which hospital BATTS when he left the jail. Baker, the family's attorney, said BATTS was admitted January 7th and died the following day. We believe the autopsy is going to answer a lot of questions, Baker said in a statement. My hope is that the county will be more cooperative than they have in other cases in the past. Now, mind you, he died on the 8th at the hospital. He went into jail on the 7th, and this article was published the 14th. Well, naturally, there's more information since the original publication of this information pertaining to David BATTS. The family has hired Ben Crump to represent them in this case. Let's see. I'm going to give you the information, then we'll go into the video. Just giving you all bio because I don't want, I'm sure there'll be lots of questions. So I'm reading you all this information so you'll get an understanding of what is going on. And presented another family here in Knoxville, Tennessee, pertaining to a high school student, African-American student who was shot in a bathroom at Austin East High School a few years ago, where he had brought a gun to school and there was an altercation in the bathroom. So Mr. Crump has made an appearance here in this great city of Knoxville, Tennessee, due to deaths involving the police department, Knoxville Police Department. Nationally renowned civil rights attorney Crump is representing the family of David BATTS, the former Knoxville area transit employee who died after he left the Roger D. Wilson detention facility on January 7th. Crump's presence brings an extra layer of scrutiny and publicity to his death, which happened after a short stay at the jail. The BATTS family met with Knox County District Attorney Sharm Allen on January 23rd, and she told the family her office would not bring charges against the jail employees. BATTS' autopsy showed the inmate died from meningitis and that he had the drug fentanyl in his system. The death of David BATTS is an example of unchecked brutality within the justice system. His family deserves answers, accountability, and justice for his horrific loss, Crump said in a statement. We demand the immediate release of all footage related to David's death to ensure transparency and hold those involved responsible for this tragedy. BATTS, 46, was admitted to a local hospital following a short stay at the jail January 7th. He had several cuts, an extremely bruised and swollen face. He died January 8th. Knox News has not independently confirmed the circumstances around his death. The DA's office statement said meningitis is often fatal infection led to BATTS' assaultive and resistive behavior. Wow. Based on my review of the body camera footage and the medical examiner's preliminary findings, I have concluded that the officers involved responded to Mr. BATTS' assaultive and resistive behavior with appropriate force under the circumstances, Allen wrote. And this is the District Attorney, Sharm Allen. Troy Jones, the family's local attorney, sat in on the meeting with Allen. He said the district attorney did not show any video footage to the family. Allen told the family the video was a public record and they would have to get it from the sheriff's office, he said. On January 13th, Knox News requested video footage of BATTS in the jail. After the story about Allen's decision published January 23rd, the sheriff's office responded to the request and said it expects to provide the footage next week. Crump's team briefly represented the family of Anthony Thompson, the 17-year-old who was shot and killed by Knoxville police officers in an Austin East High School bathroom in 2021. Crump later withdrew from the case. A federal judge dismissed the family's lawsuit February 2024. The family has appealed the decision to the Sixth Circuit Court of Appeals and is awaiting the decision. That's the story I just told you about the young guy who took the gun to the bathroom. He and a girlfriend had some issues. There were some physical altercations. He hit her. She called her mom. The mom called the police, and that's how the police ended up at the high school. And he did have a gun on him. There was a lot of controversy with that case. A lot of people felt like the police was in the wrong, but my feelings on that situation is you did take a gun to the school. You physically assaulted a young lady, and that's what got the police involved. It is what it is. Some people disagree. Everyone's entitled to his or her opinion. Let's get into this video. Welcome to the Vault Excel, everybody. I'm going to start this video at 1:16:58. It is a 2-hour, 8-minute video. In the 2 hours, you're going to get different angles of each officer with hour 1 to show him coming out of the van, which you hear the district attorney saying he appeared fine when he came out of the out of the van. So this is to show that he got up, walked out on his own. He wasn't incapacitated as far as, lying down or comatose but you'll see for yourself and you can form your own opinion what you think about the status of Mr. BATTS when he exited the van.
Are you able to unbuckle yourself? It's on the other side. Awesome.
Can you get it?
Yeah. It's on your right side.
Yeah. You already unbuckled? Come on out.
Alright. Alright.
Can you get it?
Alright. Second lever. Good.
Need help? Getting up? Getting up?
Alright.
Go get up.
Alright. You got a lot out here, man. Hey, David, come here.
No, it's good.
Go ahead. Go through. Lost my bacon. You unbuckle? What you got?
No, he's not unbuckled. That's why. You ain't unbuckled, buddy. Hang on, you're all tied up in
Hey, Heather.
the belt.
Alright.
There you go. How about we do it now? Watch your head now.
As you notice, he was strapped in, and for some reason they thought he was just going to jump up, which he couldn't get up because he was buckled in, which I'm assuming that's protocol when you put the inmate arrestee into the van. If you listen carefully, he keeps saying the same thing over and over. You're going to hear that throughout the video because obviously he was inebriated and under the influence of heroin, cocaine, whichever, fentanyl. Answers are rhetorical throughout the video, and then you'll also hear some other choice words as well.
That's a door.
Alright. There you go. We'll go right over that blue mat you see on the wall. Wait for forehead gets small. Do you have anything that's gonna poke me, stick me, hurt me in any way? Do you have anything that's gonna poke me, stick me, hurt me in any way? And in your on you're not supposed to have.
Big Pharma tried to silence.
Sorry about that brief intermission. Yes, this is the video of 46-year-old David BATTS being taken into custody at the Knoxville penal system in Knox County. If you're curious, this incident took place the 7th of January.
Keep your forehead against the mat.
These are timestamp.
Keep your forehead against the wall. Yeah, just hang out for a second. There's. Turn around, face me. You know, put it back against the wall. Lean back against the wall. You're gonna take off your right wrist restraint. I'm gonna have hold you think of it. Alright. You're gonna take off your left wrist restraint. Alright. Okay. You're gonna place the hand behind you on the wall. Alright. Alright. You got any medical stuff? On the wall. Alright. You got any medical conditions? Huh? You got any medical conditions? Alright.
As you hear, he's repeating himself over and over.
You're gonna do the same with this one, right?
He's incoherent, I would assume.
All right, your hands to your side. It's gonna help you. I got you. All right. I'm holding your wrists. All right. Take off your jacket for me. All right. Place it in that top bed. All right. Take it off. Take it off. Take it off. Hold your wrists up. All right.
Can you button your pants? Because we'll take your belt from you.
Just trying to walk up. All right. Take off your jacket off for me. How many shirts you got on, bro? How many shirts you got on?
We'll put it in the arm, and then we'll take all this up and keep it trying to walk off.
Turn around, Jason. Put your hand on your back for me. Yeah, just for a second.
And then she can, as long as she's full and going in, we'll take it.
Hey, straighten your hand out a little bit for us, bud. We don't want to pinch you. Just work with us. There you go. You got anything on your in you? You taking anything today? You know who the president is? Hey, if I give you 6 quarters, how much is that? How much is 6 quarters? Stay right there. Good.
Mr. Batts?
Yeah.
Are you injured, sir? Mr. Batts?
This is the nurse. You guys stay right there and talk to the nurse.
Mr. Batts? What's going on today?
Here, stay right here and talk to the nurse. She's trying to help you, bud.
How are you feeling? How are you feeling? How are you feeling mentally? Have you taken any drugs today? Okay. So you can bring them in. I'll talk to them a little bit later.
Hey, David, kick your right leg up for me. Let me take that boot off. Just lift this leg up.
Hey, pick that leg up so
We'll do it, Mark. Yeah, we'll do it. Come on, brother.
Once again, you can see that he's not answering the questions being asked of him. At this point, I think they realize something's wrong. He's incoherent. Please go back to the beginning of this video where I give you the bio on the story. He was found with heroin on him, a small amount, given a misdemeanor, sent to the hospital for evaluation from the CAT Center, and allegedly groped 2 nurses. That's why he was arrested. He also had meningitis in his system, and I will read you that information after the video, that it is deadly meningitis, if you did not know.
stay safe for now.
File your taxes 100% free in the app if you didn't use us.
Drop down to the knees. Drop down to your knees. Drop down to your knees.
Go down to your knees. Go down to your knees.
There you go.
Go down to a full position.
Come on, slow back.
Quit moving.
You guys, I'll hold the same thing right now. I'll sit on this guy.
You place this right hand on top of your head. You understand? Place it on top of your head. Take off this ring for you. Put your hand on top of your head. On top. Chief. Oh. Oh.
It's a face mask you pull off.
Oh. 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 That's good. Oh. Don't try to turn over. Oh, fuck. Oh, fuck.
What you have back? What you on back?
All right. First, you're gonna get sprayed. Oh, fuck. Oh, fuck. Oh, fuck. Oh, fuck. Clear. Oh, fuck.
He's not being tased.
Oh, fuck. Oh. Oh, fuck.
Now you ask, was it necessary to tase him?
Give me your hand.
Just asking all the questions.
Oh, fuck. Oh, oh. Oh, fuck. Oh, fuck. Oh, fuck. Oh, fuck. Oh, fuck. Oh, fuck. What's up?
Don't resist.
Hi. Oh, fuck. Oh, fuck. Oh, fuck. Oh, fuck. Oh, fuck. Oh, fuck. Give me your hand. Oh, fuck. Oh, fuck. Oh, fuck. Oh, fuck. Oh, resisting. Oh, fuck. Oh, God.
Fucking bite me.
Oh, fuck. Oh, fuck. Oh, fuck. Oh, no. Oh,
Tased again. Tased again. Now he's foaming at the mouth.
Stop resist. Okay. Roll to your stomach.
Now he's being punched.
Stomach.
Punched in the face.
There you go. You got cuffs off already?
After he said he's tried to bite him.
Get him to the stomach and then go back out.
Put your hand on your back.
Get him to his stomach. Try and get him to his stomach.
1, 2, 3 officers in the area.
Stop moving.
You can see the taser. They showed the taser in the guy's hand. You can hear the taser. It's not being sprayed. You can hear the taser gun.
Stop resisting.
Oh, you guys let's play there, big guy.
We'll return.
You can hear the taser, and they had it in his hand. The taser. I think most people know what a taser sounds like.
Stay on the ground. Stay on the ground. Stay on the ground. Stay on the ground. Oh,
This is a 2-hour, 8-minute video released by the Knox County Sheriff's Department, and it brings you, they're showing you different angles from the body cam worn by the officers. So I brought you in at hour 16 because, you know, it's 2 hours long. So they're just showing you different angles throughout the video. So I'm bringing you the video showing you when he first gets out of the van and into custody, going into the jail. you see that he's walked in fine. He got out of the van fine. No resistance, no acting out. Nobody's hitting, punching him until he's down on the ground side where they accuse him of trying to bite an officer, and that officer punched him in the face. And you will see his face swollen during this video.
Place this right hand on top of your head, you understand? Place it on top of your head. Take off this ring. Lay your hand on top of your head. On top, he's doing it. Don't try to stop, you're gonna get sprayed. Don't try to turn over. Where you at? Where you at? Give me a hand. First, you want to get sprayed. Give me your hand.
So they're threatening to spray him, so I guess they sprayed him. Several officers in the area, rather small area. Now you have to ask, should he have been sprayed? Now at this point he can't breathe, I'm sure. And face down.
Did you know that putting
So they sprayed him. Now, whoever's satisfied, are you satisfied that it was said he was sprayed?
are considered normal? From 100 to 100.
So now you can hear him gagging from being sprayed, and then his face is down. So he probably can't well under the circumstances. They're trying to put clothes on him.
resisting.
Let me say this. Using spray makes no sense to me, only because you're in the same room with the person. You're in a small space. And I've been in a place where mace was sprayed many years ago in college. I was at a nightclub and someone sprayed mace in the room. And let me tell you, it permeated. Because, it was a decent sized club. It wasn't real big, but it wasn't real small either. So one person spraying mace, I'm not even nowhere near the person who sprayed the mace. But we had to come out of there because you couldn't breathe. So if they sprayed a mace type agent, that makes no sense because you're in the room with the detainees. So to me, that's a stupid idea to mace a person and you're there, you're in the room with them. It doesn't make no sense to me. Why are you going to risk your own membranes to spray someone in a small space? That's strange to me. That just makes no sense to me. I don't know why anybody would do that, because I feel like there's too many people in the room that could keep him detained. They're trying to put his uniform on. It's obvious he's under the influence because he keeps repeating himself, saying the same thing over and over. But spraying someone with mace in a small space, and you're all crouched down trying to get this man uniform on him, get his jail clothes on him. This just makes no sense to me, because there's too many people in the room that should be able to detain this man. And they claim he was trying to bite one of the officers here, which I still don't believe you should have punched him in the face, because the point is he's still down. Naturally, he don't want to be down on the ground. As I said, he's inebriated, under the influence of narcotics. But punching him in the face, what's the point? Because it's not like he, jumped up, barreled up like Hercules or the Incredible Hulk and pushed everybody into the wall and everybody went, being flung across the room. Wasn't that type of party. He's mainly down on the ground the entire time until they get him up. So I don't understand why there would be a need to punch him in the face. I get it. You don't want someone biting you, but there's just too many people in the room that could try to subdue him. So I guess this was their method to subdue him. To put the clothes on was to spray and then I guess tase him. Now you can hear the taser. Which we don't see that, but you can hear it. So he's coughing, because he was coughing when he got there as well. That was probably from the meningitis. I'm assuming they're probably coughing as well. Now, why the screen is dark, I don't know. 1 hour, 37 minutes in. Taser again.
Stop resisting.
All you gotta do is lay there, guys.
Stay on the ground. Stay on the ground. Oh, look. Whatever else you got something right there.
Looks like someone's covering up something.
You all right?
They're all in there coughing. Obviously, that's why I said why spray the taser. I get it. You're trying to get the guy
Most homeowners have it.
You're trying to get the guy to comply, but it makes no sense for you to risk your own health by spraying the mace. It makes no sense. This makes no sense to me. Now, as I said, this is a 2-hour, 8-minute video. I'm bringing you in an hour, 16 minutes into it to show him exiting the van so you can see that he was able to walk out of the van on his own. He wasn't resisting arrest or, wilding out. He only started wilding out once he got put to the floor and they were trying to put his clothes on, put the jail clothes on. But we can still go back to where you get a different angle because each person is wearing a different camera. But this one person whose camera's on, I don't know which officer this was, you could see there was nothing. I don't know if he's standing in the back of one of the officers, so it's only showing the officer's shirt or it was blocked. And you can see hands that seem to be in front of the camera as well. That's my opinion. See, his hands keep going up near the camera for some reason. I don't know what's going on here. Blocking out certain people. I guess they don't want to know who works there. Four officers in the room.
Resisting.
There's a taser. That was the first taser. As I said, there's different angles of the video. There's the punch. Punching 2 times. So each part of the video shows a different angle of a person wearing a body cam footage. Body camera.
Okay. Stop resisting. Roll to your stomach. Roll to your stomach.
So there he's punched again.
What do you got? You got steps on already? Yeah.
So he was punched a few times.
Get into the stomach. Oh, my God. You say that. I think that's on your back right now. Get into the stomach. Try to get into the stomach. All right. Stop moving. You look at tasting it.
You hear people coughing. Tased again.
Stop resisting. Stop. Stay on the ground. Stay on the ground. Stay on the ground. Stay on the ground.
So why is the camera to the ground? Some might ask this person who has a camera on, why is this camera to the ground? This is showing different angles of each person wearing a camera. Now the camera's up.
Hey man, go to the sink and rinse your face.
So now we hear them say, rinse your face. So we now know that he was tased. and spray. So they're asking him to wash his face. Now it's like you keep covering the camera for what? The damage is done at this point. Somebody's coughing. This is the reason why I said it made no sense to use the spray. That's an officer coughing. Uh, 2 hours and 8 minutes of this video released by the Knox County Sheriff's Department. Each part of the video is a different angle of different officers wearing body cam footage. So you're going to see a different angle. This person wearing their camera, they're putting their hands up a lot by the camera. Why, I don't know. This person's also coughing and hacking from the spray, and also patting their camera down to the ground, upside down, which doesn't make any sense. So I don't know what all that's about. But as I said, throughout the 2 hours of this video, you see different angles of the spraying and the tasing and trying to subdue Mr. BATTS so they can put his jail clothes on. That's what you're watching here in this live footage of body cam footage by different officers. As you also see, there were at least 4 in the room with him trying to detain him. A few were standing outside of the door while he was being detained. What I'm asking you, do you think they should have sprayed him? Do you also believe they should have tased him? Because as I said, you're in the room with him. So why are you going to endanger your own self by, you know, inhaling the spray? It makes no sense to me. And then 2, you're right there where he's being tased. I don't know, you know, if that can have any effect on you. You're right there where a person is being tased. You're trying to subdue the person, you know, and we have heard of people passing away from being tased as well. People have been known to have a heart attack. So when you factor all those things in, he was using fentanyl. He also had a small amount of heroin on him when he was arrested. Misdemeanor, sent to the hospital because obviously he was acting erratic, or he seemed out of it, rather. Let me say out of it, because I wasn't there, you know, at the bus depot to see how he was acting. So I'll just say they deemed something suspicious with his behavior to send him to the hospital for a mental evaluation. He gets there. 2 nurses say he groped them. So that's why he got arrested, is allegedly groping of the nurses. They weren't going to arrest him for the small amount of cocaine or whatever they found on him. So Diddy groped the nurses, which got him arrested because he was released from the hospital, and then the police arrested him at the hospital, which got him here at the detention center. So should he have been sprayed? Should he have been tased? He was punched a few times. You can see that in the video. He was punched. Officer was saying, "Don't bite me, don't bite me." They're steady telling him to be still, don't resist. Should he have been tased, sprayed, and also punched? Definitely not sprayed, because you're in the room with them. So that doesn't make any sense. Definitely not punched in the face. I'm going to bring you information pertaining to meningitis and assault, how all that can play into a person dying, okay? Because he's already got a deathly infection in his body. Don't know if he knew about it. Don't know how long he was sick. But being punched, naturally being sprayed, being tased, did not help the situation with the meningitis and also the drug usage.
Right.
You got it. You got it pretty good on places. Oh, that's right.
So they're all huddling around, I guess, discussing what the officer had on him, didn't have on him, any bruising, scratches. I think he said he had some scratches or whatever. I'm assuming, well, if you wore gloves, many are going to say, well, how would you get scratched if you had gloves on you? because I'm assuming most should have had gloves on them. That's the protocol, I assume, when a person's being detained in jail to check them out, check their persons, you're supposed to wear gloves. The volume is off. They've got the volume off. As you see, this one's putting on gloves. The other officers, that officer has on gloves. She has on gloves.
This is Sergeant Cox at the Roger Eagles Detention Facility. It is January 7th, 2025 at approximately 23:11 hours. We have got inmate BATTS here in R5, who was convicted with officers on second shift, was tased multiple times. The nurse needs to get his vitals to determine if he was sent out to the hospital. So we are going to attempt to do that. We have the key.
Okay, so here she's recording and giving a synopsis of what they're about to do. They're trying to get his vitals. And so you also hear her say he was combative with the second shift. The second shift. So that's what you're hearing this lady say pertaining to Mr. BATTS, that he was combative with the second shift officers, and they're now going in trying to get his vitals. I will replay that again so in case somebody's coming in late into the chat. Okay, here we go. So everybody's coughing and hacking from the spray. That's why I said, why use it? It's stupid. That makes no sense to me, to use the spray. Just giving you a brief playback.
How much
Spray.
You got it. You got it pretty good on my faces. Oh, that's right.
So they're all checking each other out from being in the room with Mr. BATTS. Now, there's no volume on until they get to the door to check him for now vital signs, which is going to lead him to the hospital where he eventually dies.
This is Sergeant Cox at the Roger Eagles Detention Facility. It is January 7th, 2025 at approximately 23:11 hours. We have got inmate BATTS here in R5, who was convicted with officers on second shift, was tased multiple times. The nurse needs to get his vitals to determine if he will be sent out to the hospital. So we are going to attempt to do that. We have the key.
So what's the time frame from the last tasing
You didn't have the nurse get your vitals, okay?
until this point here? What is the time lapse from the last tasing up until this point for them to send him to the hospital? And what made them decide to send him to the hospital? Those are the questions.
What's the nurse like? Take a look at you. Come here.
Hey, put your hands to the tray slot right there for me.
Come on down here. Right. Right.
I mean, we're gonna end up getting it for to get them processing, so that's why the minimal movement that we can do would be best, so when y'all are ready.
How long does it take to open a door? This is crazy to me.
Go in there, somebody take control of his right side. Hey, turn around for me and face the wall. Bats, turn around. Hey, Bats, come down. You're fine, we just need to get your ladder. Just stay down there.
4 officers in the room. 4 officers in the room. This is where they're trying to take his vitals. He's already had an altercation with the other officers on another shift. This is another shift. They're trying to get his vitals. That's the nurse with the blonde hair. She's there to take his vitals. Now, many are going to question, why did they decide to take his vitals? And what is the time lapse from the last altercation with the officers to come in now to take the vitals? Because this is 23:15. We'll have to go back and look at the time. Let me try to go back. Hold on, you guys. Hold on 1 second. Sorry about that. 23:15 is where the nurse is in. We try to go back and look at the time lapse of when they decided to check his vitals. Welcome to the Vault Excel. Thank you. $23:37. Because these are different officers, as you can see. These are not the same ones that are in there with him before he goes to the hospital. This one says 23:37. Which I don't understand that. That's 1/7. Let me look at the date. Okay, this date is 1/7. don't know. Something's off here. Sorry about that, everybody. I'm trying to go back. I'm trying to get a time frame. 1/7. Now here you can see his face is puffy. Hold on. So this is going farther back. Because I came in at 1:16. I'll probably have to go back to the beginning. I'm trying to get a date. A time on when they decided to check his vitals. That's what I'm doing, everybody. So it's like an hour or so. 13, so this is 14:34. They're still wrestling with him in the room. Hold on. 14. That's 14. Let's see. 14:34. Hello, everybody. Queen's trying to get a timeline on when they came in to do the vitals. That's what I'm looking for. Sorry about this. Okay, 23:14. So 23:14. We're just going back. Okay. See there, you can see his face is puffy. And it's 23:14. His face is puffed up 30-something minutes later. If you look here at his face, it's puffy. See, the video shows different times. So this is 23:42. His face is already now puffed up from being hit. So it's like 30-something minutes later. That might be the reason why they decided to send him to the hospital. I'm just going back, trying to get a timeline of the altercation, trying to get him out. 14:13. I don't even know where I was. Because each segment of this 2-hour 8 video shows different times of, him coming in, them trying to get him into the clothes, all of that. I started this video around 1:16. So I'm just trying to get a time stamp on when he got, when the nurse came in. Because see, that's 14:24. Him coming in. I don't know if they're going backwards in time. Some don't make no, it's not adding up with this time. Hold on, everybody. $14.32, he's down. They got it blocked out for some reason. Let me go here.
Hey man, go to the sink and rinse your
No, we draw so.
That's how Georgia knows.
She's covering the camera. They're covering the camera. Why? I don't know. Why are you covering the camera?
How much?
Right.
You got it pretty good on my places. Oh, that's great.
Yeah, it's got to be hours later. Because remember, I don't know. Something about this time clock. I can't get this time clock right.
This is Sergeant Cox at the Roger People's Detention Facility.
23:11.
It is January 7th, 2025 at approximately 23:11 hours. We have got inmate BATTS here in R5, who was conducted with officers on second shift, was tased multiple times. The nurse needs to get his vitals to determine if he will be sent out to the hospital. So we are going to attempt to do that. Okay, we need to have the nurse get your vitals, okay?
That's clear up.
23:11. They're getting vitals.
Hey, let's have the nurse look at you. Bats. Bats. Hey, come here. Let me get your hands. Let the nurse take a look at you. Come here.
Hey, put your hands to the tray slot right here for me.
Come on down here.
I mean, we're gonna end up getting it for to get them processed, and so that's why the minimal movement that we can do would be best. So when y'all are ready.
There's gonna be no space for
You can get five position if he's on his stomach. You can. I would go in there. Somebody take control of his right side. Hey, turn around for me and face the wall. Bats, turn around for me. Hey, Bats, come down to your knees. You're fine, but just you get your bladder. Just stay down there. Bats, just stay along. You're just down there. Get your bladder. Back to your precaution.
So what did the vitals say? Haven't heard. Was his blood pressure up? Blood pressure down? What was his blood pressure? What was his heart rate? All those things matter. He was sprayed, tased, punched, and also under the influence of narcotics.
Processing.
I mean, if he's gonna stay like this, then yeah, we can.
Might as well. Down to one report.
Nobody can sign in on the ID machine.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I just tried to see what I
Yeah.
I guess I'll have to figure that out first then.
Still.
You done with this? You want to the side? Stand up on your butt. Come on, stand up on your butt. Now we're gonna stand up, all right? Yeah. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Stand up. Stand up. Go, watch your head. Walk.
Bats, follow their instructions. We gotta get you dressed out.
Walk. Out.
Out. Put one foot in front of the other.
Walk.
Go sit down. Go sit down. So you'll have to figure it out. You're good. Oh, you're a little bit braced. You can stand up and face against the wall. Yeah. Stand up. Just stand up. Stay right here. Okay. That's all you gotta do, man. You can assume to let figure out. So you go there and change it into sound. I can do it right now. Where's your strength? You know what? I can change it right now. Where's your strength? Yeah, we're doing that works for sure. That's what I'm saying. Between you and I, we can go on. Stop falling away. Just hang out right here for the wall, Relax right there, bud. Just hang out. This is not working in front of them. This is already resolved. Well, it's not spitting, so I'm really here right now.
So we won't keep trying to do these nails.
Five officers in the room. Plus whoever's standing behind them filming. Trying to get the mittens on. They're having the hardest time with the mittens and the handcuffs. Yeah, he need to switch out. He's been whining the whole time. Like he can't breathe himself. Out of shape. Most of these people are out of shape. Something I've always wondered about. Shape. I don't know how you can be working in law enforcement. Just saying. Makes no sense. Even the cops, detectives, same thing. At some point, you're going to have to run, squat. You're not in any shape. What's the point in working in the facility? I'm baffled. He's the only one complaining. because he's out of shape. Saying. Can't get it on, can't do this. This is crazy. It's like, you do this every day. Come on. I refuse to believe that Mr. Batts is the only person that's ever gone in Knox County Jail combative. You have to be in mental, physical shape for this kind of work. Four officers, one just standing looking, one filming. Lord have mercy. What I'm wondering is, I'm going to break right here for just a second, everybody. This is a 2-hour, 8-minute video. Feel free to check the whole video out on my community page. I brought it in at 1 hour and 16 seconds or so, just to start you where he is, you know, put in the room and they're trying to put his clothes on, put the jail clothes on, which led to the tasing, spraying, and punching him. What is interesting to me is you're trying to put somebody on the ground that you can get under the influence, whatever. Why not have sat him up on the wall and put his clothes on? Wouldn't that make more sense? You started out with facing somebody to the wall, then you're pushing your knee into their knee to make them buckle and go to the ground to go face down, which maybe they thought that was a good idea, but maybe sitting him upright where he could see what you're doing. Because you got to remember, you're dealing with the mind of somebody inebriated, okay? He didn't come in fighting. He didn't come in tussling, Mr. Batts, because I've shown you that footage of him first coming in. He was not combative. He was not fighting anyone. He was not hitting anyone, punching, spitting, none of that. Why not have sat him down on a bench or chair or however, and then try to pull shoes off? See where I'm going? Pull his shoes off, pull his pants down. Maybe he would have been, you know what I'm saying? Perhaps he could have been more cooperative, but that's the whole point, is that you're dealing with someone who's under the influence of drugs. So, and God forbid if they have any mental issues. So naturally, a person's going down to the knees, facing a wall, small space. You're already, you know, it's a claustrophobic type situation. You got to think about their own drugs. There's no telling what the hell is going on in their mind, what they're thinking, you know, hallucinating. Yeah, they're going to be feeling some type of way. But like I said, you're trained for this. You're supposed to be trained for this. I don't think a lot of these people are properly trained. I'm just going to keep it real. And you hear these stories all the time on the street, whether they're officers on the street, deputies on the street, or they're inside a facility. I don't consider these people, to me, real cops. I'm just saying. Because I think they could have had a better outcome with this had you sat them up on the bench or something and said, hey, we're getting ready to take your clothes off. We're going to put your jail clothes on. And then you sat him up right, pulled his pants off. Everybody knows, just like you put your own damn pants on. You either stand up, put one leg in, or you sit down on a bed or chair and put your pants on. You know, everybody puts their pants on differently. But I'm wondering, had they sat him down and put his pants on, maybe it would have been easier to put his clothes on. I'm just saying, me personally. I think sitting him upright, maybe the clothes could have got on easier. But we'll never know because they didn't do that. They chose to have him face the wall, bend down on his knees, go to the ground. That just seems more difficult, in my opinion, in putting on somebody's clothes. And then to the person's handcuffs, so you got to use common sense. So wouldn't it make sense to have them sit down? They're sitting down, you pull the pants off. Easier, slip the pants on with help, of course. Then somebody helps pull the shirt over his head, and then you put the shirt over his head. To me, that just seems easier than putting someone face down. That's my opinion.
Are we ready?
Hell no. Y'all ain't ready. This one here, Teletubby, he's out of shape. He's out of shape. He ain't made for this type of work. Just keeping it real. See, there's a bench right there or a stool. They could have done that, put the clothes on just like that.
Get your hands down.
Now they're taking a picture of how he looks. What were his vitals when the nurse came in? As you see, there's another bench in the corner. See, you could have sat him on a bench and put his clothes on. That's my opinion. You know, my thing is, you know, you don't know how he would have reacted even sitting on the bench, but he may have been more calm sitting upright. That's all I'm saying. Now you have his face covered. So, is he able to breathe properly? See, I have to ask all those questions, you know. Is he able to breathe properly with the mask on? Because you've got it over the nose and the mouth, okay? And as I said, you're talking about somebody who we later learned had meningitis, under influence of drugs. And now you've got a mask over the entire nose and mouth. Just asking. See, because everybody, you know, navigates differently under the influence of drugs, also with a mask on. So I just ask all the pertinent questions because I wasn't there, but I'm just bringing you the information that's been released.
Sergeant, those are sent to you.
So is his nose? Okay, they got his nose out. Okay, so I can see his nose. But you can tell he's breathing heavy. So nose is out, just the mouth covered. Yeah, at this point, he's breathing very heavy. So they probably noticed something wasn't right with Mr. BATTS in the cell. He's breathing very heavy. So as I said before, what was Mr. BATTS' blood pressure when the nurse checked his vitals? What was his pulse? And what made them decide to send him to the hospital? That's all I'm asking. Because obviously they made a decision to send him to the hospital. So what was the reason? As you can see, he's breathing very heavy, heavier than before. When he first came in, he wasn't breathing like that when he got out of the van. Naturally, with all the tussling and rustling, his heart rate, blood pressure wouldn't get high because he didn't want to, you know, comply. Let me answer Jessica's question. If you're just coming into this live stream, thank you. Welcome to the Vault Excel. This is Mr. BATTS. He's no longer alive. He was brought into the Knox County detention facility on Maloneyville Road. And he allegedly got into the driver's seat of a CAT bus. This is our Knoxville Area Transit System bus. I believe he worked as a maintenance worker. So he got behind the seat for whatever reason, maybe to do something on the bus. And he drove the bus into another bus or another vehicle. So obviously somebody noticed something wasn't right with him and they called 911. So police come. He has a small amount of drugs on him. They cite him for, a misdemeanor. But then they go ahead and send him to the hospital, not jail, but the hospital. He goes to the hospital initially. There at the hospital, 2 nurses say he groped them, allegedly. So then the police is called. They filed a report. They wanted to press charges. Police comes after he has been released, and then they arrest him, and this is how he ends up in the jail. So originally this started on his job, sitting at the bus, sitting in the seat of a bus, and he rolled the bus into another bus cat vehicle, and obviously somebody noticed something wasn't right with him. He had clocked in as the day previously, never clocked out. Don't know what that's about. They said, he seemed indifferent. So we went from the cat bus to 911 call, drugs found on him, citation, then sent to the hospital for mental evaluation. Go to the hospital, allegedly groped 2 nurses. Then he's arrested coming out, and then he's sent to the detention facility where you have this video here released to the public. Mr. Crump, infamous lawyer, has been hired by the family. Just so you know, long story short, no charges have been filed against any of these officers or the officers before on the second shift. Sharm Allen, the district attorney, is not filing any charges. I read you her statement earlier during this live stream. Feel free to go back to the beginning. I also read Mr. Ben Crump's statement that the family wanted justice, transparency. The public is asking for transparency. This is why you now have this video released. But no one has been charged. District attorney is not filing any charges against any officers at this facility. Okay? Roger D. Wilson facility. Nobody is being charged. Long story short, everybody's free to go. Mr. BATTS is no longer alive. A few days later, he died in the hospital of meningitis. And I'm going to read to you what meningitis is. You can determine in your own opinion, after watching all of the footage, if you believe these officers are responsible for his death or he did this to himself by being on the drugs and also having a viral infection. You're entitled to your opinion. I'm just bringing you the video and bringing you the information that has been released. I wasn't in the jail. I wasn't there. I wasn't at the cat bus station when he rolled the bus into the other vehicle, nor was I at the hospital to say he groped 2 nurses. I don't know. I wasn't at either place. I can only bring you the video footage that's been released. 2-hour video. I bring you in hours 1 of him coming out of the van. I brought you that because you needed to see he could walk out on his own. He was not combative. He was not cursing, fussing, none of that. Nobody was manhandling him. It was just a easy perk walk, just out of the van, into the facility. Things didn't take a turn until, as I just said, face the wall. They're hitting him in his knees to make him go down to the ground so they could change his clothes. And that's when all hell broke loose. And that's why I said, you can see that there are benches because he's sitting on one right here. Why didn't you all sit him upright to take his clothes off? To me, I would have done that instead of face down. I ain't never heard of nobody putting nobody damn clothes on face down. I can only see a person doing it face down if they came in unruly. Mr. BATTS didn't. He didn't come in unruly. The video footage shows he didn't. He didn't come in fighting, fussing, none of that. So I don't know why you would want to put a person face down, a big-ass man. This man is tall, or was tall. He's no longer alive. He's a big guy. Why would you want to put somebody face down on the ground to change their clothes in a small space? Because you can see the circumference. The spaces are small. I would have sat him on a bench and said, hey, we're going to take your clothes off. We're going to put you in your jail suit, blah, blah, blah. He could be alive today. We don't know because it didn't go that way. It didn't go that way. So we're never going to know if anything that happened in the jail contributed to his death. They're saying no, they're not liable. As I said, watch the video in its entirety and you can decide for yourself. Hey, Perspective. Hi, sweetie.
You don't want to be them.
I think at this point, Mr. Batts can't breathe. I don't think he's breathing well.
Stand up. Stand up. Go this way. Pants are falling. Right here. On your butt, turn around. Lay down. Lay down.
As you see, there's no fighting, there's no kicking. This is the end result before he's sent to the hospital. He's going right now to get in the ambulance. And I think at this point, they already knew something was not right. That's why they wanted to send him to the hospital. I mean, you know, they got cameras in the rooms.
You need me to get socks and shoes?
They can hear you talk, breathe, all that. They knew something wasn't right with Mr. Batts.
Most homeowners have.
So that's what I want to know. Why did you all decide to send him to the hospital? What was it that you saw that led you to think it's best we send him to the hospital? Because something had to have been noticed. And as you see, he was sitting up, so it wasn't like he was lying down, had passed out. But you could hear that he's breathing heavily. So that's possibly why they decided to send him to the hospital. And also his face had swollen up after being punched and sprayed with mace, tased, and punched in the face by one of the officers. We are 2 hours and 3 minutes into the video. It's 2:08. So now he's strapped down. He is on his way to the area hospital. I think he was already starting to have health issues at this point. That's why they called. Because you see, he's not fighting, he's not kicking. He's more subdued now than he was when they tried to, initially put the clothes on him. And we'll go back to that for those of you who are coming into the chat late to see the jump off. So now they're punching him again. Okay, punching his hands or whatever again to, I guess, work the, straps or handcuffs. Let me show that again. Hold on. Now you can see his face is swollen. It's swollen, his face, Mr. Batts.
Stand up. Stand up. Stand up. Go this way. Pants are falling. Right here. On your butt, turn around. Lay down. Lay down.
So he's handcuffed and he's being strapped down and he's got mittens on. But you will see the officer beating his hands here shortly. So I want everyone to look that he's being strapped down, strapped near the crotch, down below, he's strapped up here, okay? So he's pretty much subdued at this point. And he's strapped down with straps and handcuffs. So here's where he's going to be hit on the hands. So let's see what he was doing. What are they trying to do? They're tightening up everything. This is the crybaby cop here. I can tell he's a crybaby. He's the only one during this whole procession of officers doing the most whining. They got the volume off right now. He was the only one doing the most whining out of all the cops. I guess they're trying to lock the handcuffs. Wow. So I'm assuming that maybe the handcuffs or restraints were too tight. I don't know. Because it seems like they're having an awful hard time trying to, I don't know what they're doing, trying to buckle them in or lock the handcuffs. Maybe the handcuffs are too small. I don't know. I'm trying to understand, what are they doing? Maybe he's in pain. I don't know. They cut the volume off.
Are we ready?
So obviously they were trying to get him handcuffed, I guess. Why they're having the hardest time, I do not know. This one here is a crybaby. He just cried the whole time. Just complain. I don't think he's cut out for this kind of work. That's my personal opinion. I don't think he's cut out for police work, deputy work, whatever. Now they're taking a picture of Mr. Batts. Sorry about that. So each angle through the 2 hours is showing you a different angle from each officer's body cam footage. Some were covering up the camera. That's my opinion, because there's times when they would go to the ground. You would see the legs of the officers. You wouldn't see their face, which is weird. You know, most of the shit had already been transpired. So I was like, well, why are you panning the camera to the ground? Doesn't make any sense. You've already tased and sprayed them and hit them, punched them. So, I mean, I don't get it. It's very weird.
Your hand knows. Sorry, those are sent to you.
As you hear, Mr. Batts is breathing very heavily. I do believe he's probably having some type of, health issues at this point. Blood pressure is probably high. All the tussling around and excitement, trying to be handcuffed, dressed, all of those things. Mask put on, handcuffs put on, which I don't know why they're having such a hard time with the handcuffs. That's why I said a lot of this is strange to me, because it's not like he was just jumping up like, the Incredible Hulk. We couldn't put the handcuffs on, so I don't know if they didn't have big enough handcuffs or it just seems strange. They couldn't seem to get the handcuffs and the straps or whatever they were doing in a timely fashion. So I'm not sure. Brief intermission. This is pertaining to the death of Mr. Batts, who went into the facility on the 7th of this month. Went to the hospital on the 8th January, and then he died a few days later at the hospital. Okay, so that's the end. So we're going to take you to the beginning so you can get a brief synopsis of this 2-hour video. This 2-hour video, as I said, shows different angles from each cop's body camera and those who were filming, so you can get an idea of what happened and if you believe Mr. Batts was violated in any form or fashion. The only questions I have is the use of the spray and the taser, and naturally him being punched in the face. I don't think it was necessary to punch him. It makes no sense to me to punch the man. I'm going to read you some information, then I'm going to show you the beginning footage of the video. And then I'll be back a little bit later to discuss this Donald Trump nonsense that's going on right now. Meningitis, okay? This is what he was diagnosed with in the autopsy. Meningitis can occur due to a viral, bacterial, or fungal infection and requires emergency medical treatment. Symptoms may include stiff neck, sleepiness, headaches, among others. The most common causes of meningitis are viral and bacterial infections. Other causes may include cancer, fungi, drug-induced reactions. So did he get meningitis from using the fentanyl? Because that's what was found in the system. He also had a small amount of drugs on his purses when he was arrested at the bus station, at the bus depot. Symptoms of meningitis. The symptoms of viral and bacterial meningitis can be similar in the beginning. However, bacterial meningitis symptoms are usually more severe. The symptoms also vary depending on your age. So Mr. Batts was 46 years of age, almost 50. Did the meningitis cause his death or complications from the drugs, the beating, being subdued, high blood pressure, low blood pressure? All those things are going to counteract into what happened to him from the bus depot, hospital, after the hospital, getting arrested, coming out of the hospital, then going to jail. This situation with the deputies in the jail, he didn't want to get the clothes put on. What happened to Mr. Batts? Here are the viral meningitis symptoms. Decreased appetite, irritability, vomiting, diarrhea, rash, respiratory systems. Okay, so you now know it affects your respiratory system, okay? You see he was breathing heavy at the end of this video before getting onto the gurney to go to the ambulance. In adults, viral meningitis may cause headaches, fever, stiff neck, seizures, sensitivity to bright light, sleepiness, lethargy, nausea, vomiting, decreased appetite, altered mental state. So also, was his mental state affected during all this drug usage and all that? So you talk about using drugs and also having meningitis. How long was he sick? How long did he have meningitis? Bacterial meningitis symptoms develop suddenly. They may include altered mental status, nausea, vomiting, sensitivity to light, irritability, headache, fever, chills, stiff neck, purple areas of skin that resemble bruises, okay? So we also heard that he had bruising on the face, but I didn't notice them on his face when he got out of the paddy wagon. So now they say the meningitis, bacterial meningitis, says purple areas of skin that resemble bruises, sleepiness, and lethargy. So now we got to say, what did his face look like when he first came in? I couldn't tell in the beginning of videos that he looked like he had any purple bruising on his cheeks. We'll have to go back to look. but that's what he looked like when he left out. His cheeks were puffy. It says seek immediate medical attention if you experience these symptoms. Bacterial and viral meningitis can be deadly. There's no way to know if you have bacterial or viral meningitis just by judging how you feel. Your doctor will need to perform tests to determine which type you have. Now we're talking about fungal meningitis symptoms. Nausea, vomiting, sensitivity to light, neck stiffness, fever, headache, a general sense of being unwell, confusion or disorientation. It's obvious something was going on with Mr. BATTS because he kept repeating the same thing when he was in, and when they brought him out, he kept saying, He would not respond to any questions that they were asking him and any commands that they were asking of him. Chronic meningitis symptoms. You're diagnosed with chronic meningitis when your symptoms last more than 4 weeks. The symptoms of chronic meningitis are similar to other forms of acute meningitis, but can sometimes develop slower, okay? You get a rash, okay? These are symptoms of chronic meningitis, which lasts longer than 4 weeks. Did Mr. BATTS have any of these type of rash on his skin or persons at the time of his going to the hospital? Okay, don't know. Meningitis rash. One of the later signs that one bacterial cause of meningitis, Neisseria meningitidis, is in your bloodstream is a faint rash on your skin. The bacteria from a meningococcal meningitis infection reproduce in your blood and target cells around the capillaries. Damage to these cells leads to capillary damage and mild blood leaks. This shows up as a faint pink, red, or purple rash. The spots may resemble tiny pinpricks and are easily mistaken as a bruise. As the infection worsens and spreads, the rash can become more obvious. The spots will grow darker and larger. People with darker skin may have a harder time seeing a meningitis rash. Lighter areas of skin, such as the palms of hands and the inside of the mouth, may show signs of a rash more easily. Not every rash looks the same. Once again, I've given you the types of meningitis, okay? There's viral, bacterial, and fungal, okay? Viral, coascovirus A, B, and then echoviruses are under viral meningitis. Under this virus, the enterovirus has 10 to 15 million infections per year, but only a small percentage of people who get infected will develop meningitis. Other viruses can cause meningitis. This is West Nile, influenza, mumps, HIV, measles, herpes virus, cultivirus, which causes Colorado tick fever. So did Mr. BATTS have any of these issues? Did he have the West Nile? Did he have the flu? Did he have the mumps? Was he HIV positive? Did he have measles or did he have the herpes virus? Okay, just throwing everything out there. Viral meningitis typically goes away without treatment. However, some causes do need to be treated. So that will fall under the bacterial, fungal, and the parasitic meningitis. See, there's so many. Then you've got the non-infectious meningitis, and that's with lupus, head injury, brain surgery, cancer, certain medications. So then you got to ask that question. Was he under certain medications? And this is under the non-infectious meningitis. And this says it is not an infection. Instead, it is a type of meningitis that's caused by other medical treatments. Then once again, as I told you, the chronic meningitis, that's longer than 4 weeks. The causes of chronic meningitis can be fungal, rheumatological conditions, cancer, among others. Treatment for chronic meningitis is directed at treating the cause, i.e., managing rheumatoid arthritis. Wow, it's good to know that. So you can get it having rheumatoid arthritis, which the Queen has arthritis. So glad to know this information because I had no idea. Each type of meningitis has a slightly different cause, but each ultimately acts in the same way. A bacterium, fungus, virus, or parasite spreads through the body via the bloodstream, nerve endings, or even a dormant reactivation in the nervous system until it reaches the brain or spinal cord. There it sets up in the lining of fluids around these vital body parts and starts developing into a more advanced infection. Non-infectious meningitis is the result of a physical injury or condition. It doesn't involve an infection. So then we got to ask that question. Was he in an accident? Did he ever hurt himself? Okay? Did he have any other type of medical condition? Then he asks about a vaccine for meningitis. Yes, there is a vaccine for several types of bacterial meningitis. Okay? The Neisseria meningitis is one version of which vaccines are available. While viral meningitis is more common, bacterial meningitis can be more dangerous if not diagnosed and treated quickly. Is it possible that Mr. Batts had the bacterial meningitis and he did not know he was sick at the time of his arrest? Okay? So, just bringing you different types of meningitis. We've got the meningococcal conjugate. Then we got the serogroup B. There's so much to this. Meningitis vaccine, soreness, redness, burning at the injection site, low-grade fever for a day or two following injection, chills, headache, joint pain, fatigue. Once again, did he go to the doctor? Had he been to the doctor? Had he gotten a vaccination for this meningitis? See, we don't know. We don't know anything. Let's see. The CDC recommends that anyone 10 years old or older is at an increased risk for meningococcal disease. Get the MenB vaccine. Okay, certain conditions. If you have medical conditions, individuals who work with bacteria for their job. So he was a maintenance worker, so he could have gotten it from the job, working on the bus, cleaning the bus, working under the bus, whatever he was actually doing for the bus system. You are working around a lot of germs. He's around a lot of people coming and going. So anybody driving the bus, working, doing maintenance for the bus supervisors, it's all the same. You're working in a public environment. And here it says individuals who work with bacteria for their job. Plan travel to areas where meningitis is common. Anyone who has increased risk of infection due to an outbreak of meningococcal disease. Okay? Now, bacterial meningitis, early diagnosis, treatment will prevent brain damage and death. Bacterial meningitis is treated with intravenous antibiotics and steroids. There's no specific antibiotic for bacterial meningitis. It depends on the bacteria involved. Fungal meningitis is treated with antifungal agents. Parasitic meningitis involve treating just the symptoms, may either involve treating just the symptoms or attempting to treat the infection directly. Depending on the cause, this type may get better without antibiotic treatment. If it worsens, however, your doctor may try to treat the infection itself. Viral meningitis may resolve on its own, but some causes of viral meningitis will be treated with intravenous antiviral medications. And then there's chronic meningitis. It's treated by treating the underlying cause first, such as a fungal infection or autoimmune issues such as rheumatoid arthritis. So for those of you who have arthritis, rheumatoid arthritis, you need to be careful to know that you also can get chronic meningitis, having rheumatoid arthritis. Is meningitis contagious? Several types of meningitis are not contagious. Fungal, parasitic, non-infectious meningitis are not contagious. Viral meningitis is contagious. It's spread through direct contact with body fluids, including mucus, feces, saliva. Droplets of infected fluid can be spread and shared with sneezing, coughing. You will hear Mr. Batts coughing at the beginning of the video. So he was obviously sick when he was arrested at the CAT bus depot. Did he catch it from somebody? Okay, because we don't know which level of meningitis that he had. So did Mr. Batts catch this from someone? Okay, so I've just told you how you can get it. Feces, mucus, saliva, body fluids, droplets of infected fluid, spread, shared, somebody around you, sneezing, coughing. This is why you're supposed to cover your mouth. When you sneeze and when you cough, it says you do not have to come into direct contact with an infected person to pick up this infection. Bacterial meningitis, the most serious form of meningitis, can also be contagious, especially if it's meningococcal meningitis. It's spread through extended contact with an infected person. Schools, daycare centers, military barracks, hospitals, college dorms are prime locations for sharing this infection. Some types of meningitis are spread through person-to-person contact, but not all. Then they have it in infants: fever, body, neck stiffness, high-pitched crying, inconsolable behavior, sleepy, difficult waking, irritable, grumpy, doesn't feel well, has a weak suck during breastfeeding. This is for children. Now, does meningitis in children, colds, cold sores, flu, diarrhea. The viruses that cause these common conditions also cause viral meningitis. Bacterial meningitis, which is common but life-threatening. Listen again now. This is a life-threatening virus. Most likely spreads from a serious infection in a nearby area of the body. For example, the bacteria from a severe ear infection or sinus infection can enter the bloodstream and find their way to the brain or spinal cord and cause a bigger infection. This is why I'm reading you this information, because we really don't know how, which type of meningitis Mr. Batts had, how he came to get it, how long he had it. So it did not help, naturally, going into a hospital, going into a jail system, being beat in the face, sprayed, tased. You have to count all those things. Any underlying health issues he had, did not hear from the autopsy that he had any other type of issues such as arthritis, lupus, any medical conditions, have not heard. But things could have also caused this meningitis. He could have caught it from someone, been around someone coughing, sneezing. Just bringing you the latest information.
BATTS. Right, correct. Let me get your hands. Winston Marshall, take a look at you. Come here.
Hey, put your hands to the tray slot right here for me.
Come on down here. Hey. BATTS.
I mean, we're gonna end up getting him hurt to get him processed, and so that's why the minimal movement that we can do would be best. So when y'all are ready.
She says the minimum we can do. As you see,
So
things went terribly wrong.
Can you get vitals if he's in the prone position, if he's on his stomach? You can. I would go in there, somebody take control of his right side. Hey, turn around for me and face the wall.
So he got vitals done in the beginning, which is right here.
BATTS.
And then he got vitals near the end before he went to the hospital.
You ready?
Would you take a brand new energy?
So obviously vitals were done 2 times. As you see, he had on his own shirt. At this point, they've taken off his work coat, his pants. So vitals were done. So now we got to ask, why were vitals done? Because something has to be done. There has to be a reason why you're taking his vitals 2 times, in the beginning of processing and near the end. So what did they see pertaining to Mr. Batts that they felt like it was a need to take his vitals 2 times?
You're fine. Just stay down there.
Let go of my hand. Let go of my hand.
Why are they blocking it out? Why are they blocking this out? Help me understand. Well, what's the point?
Let's go to Jones. Relax. Relax. Yeah, beautiful Jones.
Maybe so. Maybe it was rectal. Yeah, could be. But I thought they was putting a cuff on him, you know, for blood pressure. I thought I heard a cuff going up.
Stop it. Wait.
I've never heard of them taking a rectal temperature in jail, so I don't know. Well, Yvonne, you mentioned it, so I've never heard of that before. A rectal temperature. I could maybe a baby, but I never heard of an adult getting a rectal temperature. So all I know is they've done it 2 times, his vitals. So I was curious to why they decided to do his vitals, because they don't take your vitals going into jail. I've never heard anyone mention, you know, getting your vitals done unless there's something was wrong. So I think they saw or noticed something wasn't right with him, and maybe the hospital told them something about his health when he went to the hospital. See, we don't know. We don't know what the hospital told the jail.
Stand up, all right? You get that around. 1, 2, 3, stand up. Watch your head.
Follow the instructions, so I get you ready.
So they're trying to get him dressed. So you hear he's making the same sounds. So he's obviously, you know, inebriated, because he makes the same sounds. They're now trying to get him dressed into his jail outfit.
Keep up.
Most homeowners.
So those are the questions I have pertaining to the death of Mr. Batts. Why did they need vitals 2 times? Did the hospital tell them anything when they arrested him from the hospital, when he got released from the hospital? What did they tell the sheriff's department? Did they notice anything about his health at the hospital? Was he diagnosed with meningitis at the hospital? Because if it was lethal at the hospital, it seems like to me, they would not have released him, as I just read you the information. That's why I read you all that information about the different types of meningitis, because it can be deadly, and he is now dead. So I'm wanting to know if the meningitis exacerbated. That's where this is very tricky, because he went to work. The work people called on him because of his behavior. Something didn't seem right with him. Don't know exactly what he was doing. He was arrested. Drugs found on him. He goes to the hospital. He doesn't go to jail originally. He goes to the hospital first. 2 women say he groped them, 2 nurses, and that's what led to all of this that you're watching now. He originally started off at his job. Okay, something happened on the job, which they said he rode a bus back into another vehicle, which led to him going to the hospital first. Arrested at the hospital after being released, and then now here at the jail. So I can't see them releasing him if they saw a deadly virus or infection. So we got to ask all those questions. What did they see wrong with him when he first went to the hospital?
Relax.
So he's breathing very hard here. So now he's starting to breathe heavy. So all that matters because respiratory issues occur also with meningitis.
You're good. You can stand up and face against the wall if you want. Stand up, just stand up. Just face right here. All you gotta do, man.
Intake security.
Even the cell, with their help, you can change it in the cell. How do you do it right now while he's restrained?
2-hour 8 video.
Change him out right now while he's restrained.
Each video shows a different body cam footage of each officer.
Between you and I, we can control the phone.
So that's why that video is so long.
Stop pulling away. Just hang out right here for the wall, Wayne. Just relax right there, bud. Just hang out.
I'm trying to get an understanding on the time, of the time stamps. That's where I'm confused. Are the time stamps 2320? I think I was at 2411 when they finally took his second vitals. So we're talking about an hour, I think. Because this is the beginning of getting into the close. And then I showed you the timestamp of what, 2411, where she takes the vitals. So we're talking about an hour from this, I'm assuming. See, this is where there's a problem. Why didn't they sit him on the bench to try to put his clothes on? Make it make sense. There's a bench right there. Why not sit him on the bench to put his clothes on? Excuse me.
Let's get these pants off first. Close that door. Close the main door. Separate your feet, force backs. Separate, there you go. So follow.
Big Pharma tried to silence me when I said lemon contains a nutrient that naturally controls blood sugar. This changes everything we know about blood sugar spikes, so pay attention. Blood sugar levels up to 97 are considered normal, but from 100 to 129, you start feeling discomfort because you're not feeling well. If you
Stop resisting. Relax your legs. Same position. Let go of my hands. Let go of my hands. No, I'm up here. First. Okay. I need this one under restraint. This one. Yep. Because I've got this on. I got first right. Set up underneath. So, sure. Yeah, my phone, yeah. Okay. Sure, another. Okay. Let's just take care of it. Open it. Don't be grabbing it. Not me.
They probably don't realize it. Somebody says, sorry, but big guys don't bend like that. Very weird. This is disturbing. Okay. Yes. Let me talk to you all for a minute about this commentary. This is why I said earlier, this is a 2-hour, 8-minute video. It's on my community page if you want to watch it in its entirety. Each part of the video is going to bring you a different angle of the same material. So one part of the video, you're going to see this angle. Then next part of the video is going to be from somebody else in the room. Okay. So this is a 2-hour situation, allegedly. It's not really 2 hours. It's shorter than that. It's just different people, different angles. I said the same thing. This outcome could have been different had they sat him on the bench to put his clothes on. In this corner, that's a bench, Okay, there's a rail so you can hold on. Naturally, for somebody handicapped, sickly, they could hold on to pull him or herself up. He is under the influence of narcotics and he is actually ill. He probably doesn't know he's sick. He should have been sitting on the bench. You all should have sat him on the bench to put his clothes on. Mr. Batts was not combative. I've already shown you the video of him coming in out of the paddy wagon. He is calm. He's not saying anything. He's moaning in response to what they're asking. But other than that, that's it. And you see him walk in calmly into this room. No fighting, no nothing. He probably got paranoid once they buckled his knees from behind and made him get on the ground with his face facing the wall. So naturally, you're facing down. You're going to probably start hyperventilating, heavy breathing, all of that, because you're now on the ground. If the man indeed was sick at the time, see, as I said, you don't know what's going on. Hallucinating. You probably feel like I can't breathe. I can't see. Why didn't you all sit him on the bench to put his clothes on? You already realize there's something wrong with Mr. Batts. He's not responding to anything that you're asking. And what part of this that these dodo birds couldn't understand? Let's sit him on the bench and put his clothes on. You're going to pull somebody's shoes off, clothes off, a man 6 feet or 6'3" on the ground. That makes no sense to me. You should have sat him up on the bench. Pulled his pants off. You pull shoes off first, like a normal person. You pull his boots off. You pull his pants off. Then you put the bottom smocks on his bottom. Then somebody comes in and put the fucking shirt on top of him. He would have been dressed. He would have been dressed, and then you put him in his cell or wherever he had to go. But you didn't do that. You put him down you buckled him from behind, hitting your knee, your thigh against the back of his legs to make him fall to the ground, which didn't make any sense to me. To make him get on his knees, then lie flat on his stomach to dress a 6 foot person. Why? That's why I always say how you start is how you finish. If you had sat him on a bench, you go from there. You didn't do that. You put him on the ground face down to dress him. I've never heard of anybody putting a person face down on the ground to dress them. I ain't never. And he didn't come in combative. He didn't come in fighting. I've already showed you that video at the beginning of this live of him getting out of the paddy wagon. He was fine. He was fine. He walks in fine. They're steady talking. All he's doing is grunting. Okay, no big deal. He only starts acting out once he's in this position here, to the ground.
They say 47, 27?
If you want to go way forward, I can make that. I just don't know.
Well, you know, Yvonne, I'm just saying, you can see that he was under the influence, is what I'm saying. Wouldn't it make easier him being so tall to sit him on the bench? I just don't understand why you would put somebody on the ground and dress them. I never heard of such. It's like I said, it'd be a difference if he came in being combative and you said, okay, well, let's put him on the ground. He wasn't acting out. So why would you put him on the ground to put clothes on him? That just doesn't make any sense. He's a big person. He's not a 5 foot person. You're talking about 6 feet at least or more. Why would I want to put a 6 foot person on the ground and put clothes on him? It doesn't make any sense. They made it worse. In my opinion, they made it worse. Look, you can see how big he is. See, all this just to put on a uniform. They're sweating. This little fat boy here, he's out of breath. He's in no shape to do this kind of work. He's not in any shape to do this kind of work. He shouldn't be doing this kind of work.
Sit down. There you go.
See? You want to sit him on a bench now. See how stupid this is. Now you see, he's not fighting, he's not fussing.
Just breathe. Sit down, buddy. Settle down.
He's under the influence, that's all. I'm going to say this. This proves my point right here. He is sitting on the bench, not acting out. This is where you should have sat him in the first place to put the damn smocks on him. He's a big man. He's not a small person. Why would you ask overweight, out of shape, breathing hard, only one complaining through this whole fiasco, this fella here, yeah, I'm talking about you. You are in no shape for this job. You don't even need to be doing this kind of work because your ass is out of shape. You need people small like the little black guy here. He's small, okay? You need people that's in shape. This is not for people overweight, just keeping it real. This is a big guy. He's bigger than him. He's tall. There's a bench over there in the corner. There's a bench right here. This is what you all had to do was just sit him down and pull his clothes off. I don't think he pulled his pants. See, you're never going to know because you didn't do it. And then the punching him in the face because you say, oh, you're trying to bite my hand. Well, you're supposed to know how to subdue a arrestee. Okay? That's what you're supposed to be trained to do. I don't think people in the jail are trained thoroughly as a police officer. That's my public opinion. Because anybody can become a guard. And that's all you're doing in here is guarding. Guarding and police work are not the same. Okay? That's my public opinion. They're not the same. Being a guard in a prison, jail, is not the same as a cop. You go through rigorous training as a police officer. When you are huffing and puffing just to get clothes on someone, you don't need to be working. Now, I'm just going to keep that shit real. You're not running. You're not chasing him. He's not jumping over a fence. You understand what I'm saying? This isn't a high-speed chase where he jumps out of the car, starts running 15, 16 blocks, jumping over fences and houses. You're inside of a small fucking cubicle, and you're out of breath. All of them huffing and puffing. As I said, he's a big guy. Had you sat him on the bench, you probably could have got his clothes on easier. And then, too, as I said, he's under the influence of narcotics. He's probably paranoid, don't know what the hell's going on. It's obvious he don't know shit from Shinola. He just knows, hey, I don't want to be here. Hey, I don't want to put on handcuffs. Hey, I don't want to put on no clothes. But you see here, he's sitting down. He's not fighting. He's not kicking. So now we got to ask, why is he dead? He died days later after leaving this facility here in Knoxville, Tennessee. He was diagnosed with meningitis in an autopsy. And I do believe the drugs, his health condition, I don't know if he had any other health conditions, this issue that happened here at the jail probably all contributed to the death of Mr. Batts.
Can you show me your hand? I'll try to take them off.
Just relax, buddy.
Guys, just sit in the chair, man. Oh, I said more, sorry. Yeah, that's one way I didn't think you said something about it. So Lamar was just sitting here and trying to understand it.
Settle down, Bats, quick. You're gonna fall out of the chair. Just hand it to me and I'll feed it around, man, I'll feed it back to you.
That's fair enough. No, I was gonna say that.
Settle down, buddy.
Already,
How we doing, Sally?
I don't know.
All right, Matt, stand up your hand. Up your chin.
Attention retirees, if you're willing to be
All right, going to read you a timeline of the event so it can all make sense. So this was longer than what I had anticipated when I said about an hour of these vital signs and everything taking place, because I kept trying to read all of these clocks and times. So yeah, many hours have gone by, 23:32 versus when I clocked in at another time. We're going to read you a timeline, okay? No, have you read it? All right, everybody. This is from Mr. Spangler, Knox County Sheriff Tom Spangler. Spangler said BATTS was arrested at 1 p.m. on January 7th for sexual battery at the University of Tennessee Medical Center and taken to the Roger D. Wilson Detention Facility. Due to not complying with authorities, he was taken into an isolation room where he stayed until 10:53, and that's R5, room 5. So we're talking about 1 o'clock arrested at the hospital, taken to the jail, and then he stayed in that one room until almost 11. So we're talking about 10 hours from arrest, hospital, the ride from UT all the way out to the penal farm, which is in East Knoxville, then, getting him booked in. So, 9 hours or so? At 11:11 p.m., Spangler said BATTS continued to not comply with supervisors and medical staff, leading them to gain control of him so a nurse could get vital signs. He said the nurse determined at 11:17 p.m. BATTS should be taken back to UTMC. From there, first responders took him back to the hospital. So this is very pivotal information, as I had said before. I was trying to get a timeline of what time he got there, what time did he get in the isolation room to get dressed, versus when the woman came in to do the vitals. So we're talking about 1 o'clock arrested, 11:11, he did not comply with direction from the supervisors and the medical staff, which you'll see that I showed earlier. And then at 11:17, she decides he needs to be taken back to the hospital. So as I said, this was a 10-hour event, okay? From time of arrest until the time he's in the isolation room, and then that's 10:53. He stayed in the isolation room. 11:11 p.m., he's not complying with the staff, supervisors, leading them to gain control of him so the nurse could get his vital signs. So you're talking about some, at least as I said, 10 hours or so of him being in isolation room 5. So that's a long time from getting there, getting sprayed, tased, punched in the face, and then clothed. Stay woke. Stay woke. So now he's being strapped down. He's got the uniform on. He's being strapped down. They had difficulty trying to strap him down. Why? I do not know. It's a whole nother question. At around 5:30 a.m. on January 8th, Spangler said a judge granted BATTS a pretrial release from custody while he was still at UTMC, and at 11:25 p.m., BATTS passed away at the hospital. So he passed away at 11:25 the next day. Okay? 11:25. So the day previous at 11:17, he was deemed sick enough to go back to the University of Tennessee Medical Center. Pay attention. "5:30 a.m. on the 8th, the judge said he could go home. He could be released, but he was still at UTMC. I find that interesting as well. 5:30 in the morning, the judge says he can go home, pretrial release. And then it says at 11:25 p.m., BATTS passed away at the hospital. So you're talking about from 5:30 a.m., the judge says he can go home, and then later, a whole day goes by, afternoon, night, all of that. He dies later that night. So that's a long time. He's at the hospital, okay, on the 8th. District Attorney General Sean Allen said last week that a preliminary autopsy report identified BATTS' cause of death as meningitis, meaning the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation would not be looking into this case. As I said to you all earlier, there will be no investigation into the death of Mr. BATTS. Okay? No FBI investigation and no charges brought by the district attorney's office. Because of the expert opinion of the medical examiner's office, there is no criminal homicide for the TBI to investigate, Allen said, adding that she had reviewed body camera footage of the altercation. "I have concluded that the officers involved responded to Mr. BATTS' assaultive and resistive behavior with appropriate force under the circumstances." Spangler added that a urine analysis showed that BATTS had fentanyl in his system. A final autopsy report is still pending. BATTS' family hired civil rights attorney Ben Crump, who was well known for his role in representing the family of George Floyd, who died in May of 2020. In June of that year, Crump even testified before the U.S. Senate Judiciary Committee about the case and alleged discrimination by the U.S. justice system. While Crump is known for his involvement in the Floyd case, he has a long history of working wrongful death suits and other civil rights-related cases. Crump said in a statement that BATTS' death was caused by unchecked brutality within the Knox County justice system. Representatives from his office added that they intend to file a lawsuit in the near future. The death of David BATTS is an example of unchecked brutality within the justice system. His family deserves answers, accountability, and justice for this horrific loss. "We demand the immediate release of all footage related to David's death to ensure transparency and hold those involved responsible for this tragedy." Now, weeks ago, this information was not released only because people were naturally raising hell, the community, his family, that they wanted to see the body cam footage to see what happened in the jail, the arrest, and thereafter. So I brought you this information via the Knox County Sheriff's Department. Now, what happened in the hospital? I don't have that footage. What happened at the depot? I don't have that footage. So all that matters as well. His health condition, health problems, all that matters. His vitals at the time of being checked at this place, this detention facility, that matters. I've read you the pros and the cons pertaining to meningitis and the different types of meningitis. Bacterial, fungal, it can lead to death. Let me make that clear during this live stream. Meningitis can lead to death. Also, people with arthritis, rheumatoid arthritis, need to be careful. They also can get meningitis. You can get it from having autoimmune diseases. So I asked all the pertinent questions during this live stream. What was wrong with Mr. BATTS at the time of the incident at the CAT bus depot? Had he been sick? How long had he been sick? Why did they release him from the hospital? See, all that matters. After he first gets sent to the hospital because of the incident at the bus depot. He worked for CAT. He rolled a bus into another vehicle They saw something was wrong with him, so they called. He didn't even clock out from the previous day from his job. What was going on? He obviously used drugs. Was he an avid drug user, first-time drug user? So you have to ask all those questions. Physical ailments, arthritis, lupus, carpal tunnel, whatever. Health, cancer, HIV, all that's mentioned pertaining to meningitis, the causes of meningitis, how you can catch it. It is contagious. So all these people in here huffing and puffing with Mr. BATTS, they all need to get checked because it is contagious. Stay woke, everybody. Let's finish reading you this information. So, once again, Mr. Crump feels like this is a brutality. His family deserves answers. We demand immediate release of the footage related to Mr. David's death and hold those involved responsible for this tragedy. WVLT News reached out to Crump's office after the body camera footage was released on Monday and received the following response. The body camera footage just released raises deeply troubling questions about David's treatment while in custody. David needed and deserved medical care and compassion, but instead was met with brutality. His death from meningitis, a condition that can severely impair behavior and mental state, should have been dealt with through urgent medical attention, not a taser and punches to the head. The body camera footage released on Monday can be reviewed below. Once again, the video contains graphic imagery, language. Viewer discretion is advised. WVLT has a clip of the video as well. Now, there was one statement where she had made, Ms. Sharm, talking about the meningitis. Could be related to, what happened to him inside of the jail. Okay, so this is him getting on the gurney. Yvonne says maybe he spiked a fever or rash in those 10 plus hours. Yes, he could have. Yes, he could have. So here we have MSN, their version. Within minutes after David BATTS entered the Knox County Jail on January 7th, Knox County Sheriff's officers pepper sprayed, shocked him with the taser 4 times, and punched him as they tried to get him to change from his regular clothes into a jail uniform, which you have seen evidence here in this video. BATTS was disoriented throughout the day and suffering from an undiagnosed meningitis infection. Died the next day after he was taken from jail. His face badly bruised to the University of Tennessee Medical Center. The video showed BATTS having difficulty following simple commands and having difficulty keeping his hands above his head or behind his back. Sheriff's officers immediately employed force. The sheriff's officers were cleared of using excessive force by Knox County District Attorney Sharm Allen, who cited the medical examiner's preliminary ruling that BATTS died of meningitis. The DA's statement said meningitis, an often fatal infection, led to BATTS' assaultive or resistive behavior. So the DA is saying basically the meningitis led to his behavior. Okay? Now, one could say it could be also the drugs, because also he had drugs in his system. So it probably was a combination of both. He's sick and he's using drugs. Okay? Common sense will tell you he's using fentanyl. He didn't have any business going to work. He didn't have any business behind the wheel of the bus, trying to move the bus or work on the bus. Common sense stuff. The details of BATTS' interaction with Knox County Sheriff's officers were revealed January 27th in videos released by Sheriff Tom Spangler, who held a press conference to defend his staff, declaring, "I can only tell the truth. That's all I can do. I can tell you the truth. If it doesn't fit your narrative, I'm sorry." Spangler did not show the videos at his press conference and preempted questions about what they show. Spangler voiced his frustration with reports that jailers beat BATTS to death, saying, "Yeah, is Sheriff Tom Spangler upset? You're damn right. I am, because there's a lot of accusations going on out there, but just they're out there that just are not true." So people accuse these people, officers, of beating Mr. BATTS to death. Spangler says these allegations are not true. Once again, civil rights attorney Ben Crump, who is representing BATTS family, released a statement January 28 about the video. He says the body camera footage release raises deeply troubling questions about David's treatment while in custody. Crump said in the statement, David needed and deserved medical care and compassion, but instead was met with brutality. His death from meningitis, a condition that can severely impair behavior and mental state, should have been dealt with through urgent medical attention, not a taser, punches to head. And I brought you that information. No charges are being filed against the officers. This is coming from the district attorney's office. The FBI is not investigating either. BATTS autopsy showed he died of meningitis and had the drug fentanyl in his system. Based on my review of the body camera footage and the medical examiner's preliminary findings, I have concluded that the officers involved responded to Mr. BATTS' assaultive resistant behavior with appropriate force under the circumstances, Sharm Allen wrote. She's our district attorney. BATTS originally was taken to the University of Tennessee Medical Center around noon, January 7th. After an incident involving a Knoxville area transit bus, BATTS, a CAT employee, drove a bus around a CAT parking lot before running it into a vehicle, according to the Knoxville Police Department. So see, that's a different version than the other article said he rolled into a vehicle. Now they're saying he ran it into a vehicle. See, you never know. BATTS appeared days in police body cam videos taken at CAT. Unable to answer questions, he repeated the same, not much, reply to nearly every question. And you saw that here in his demeanor in this video. Mr. BATTS keeps saying, he won't respond to anything. So it's the same behavior, I guess, at the CAT station versus what we saw here at the jail. He could not respond to said information at the CAT station and also at the jail. We do not have the footage from the CAT station. I would really like to see that footage, but I doubt if anybody had on, the workers wouldn't have body cams, of course, to show what he was doing and how he was acting. But the police, it'd be nice to see the body cam of the police's interaction with Mr. BATTS so we could see how he was behaving when they stepped onto the scene. Once again, like they said, he repeated the same, not much reply to every question. Not charged with the wreck, but was taken to UTMC.
11 hours. We have got inmate BATTS.
So this is the end of the video where they're going to check him for whatever they think is wrong with him. So that means they saw something on the camera footage to want to check his vitals, okay? So, as I said, he was not charged with the wreck, but was taken to UTMC for a mental evaluation. Less than 2 hours later, KPD was called back to UTMC after two nurses reported BATTS groped them. KPD officers took him to the Roger D. Wilson detention facility, and video provided by KPD shows he was disoriented but uninjured. BATTS arrived at the intake area of the jail just before 2 p.m. So now we get a timeline, 2 o'clock. He gets to the jail at 2. That's about the time I said, about an hour later. Arrested 1 o'clock at the hospital, 2 o'clock at the jail. Once there, he continued to appear confused and was unable to follow simple orders according to KPD body camera footage. He was taken back to the hospital just after midnight. So we're now talking about, as I just said, 10 hours has elapsed from the time he gets to the jail versus the time he leaves the detention facility. So that's a long time for a person that's sick, probably don't know he's sick, also under the influence of drugs, and then also pepper sprayed, tased, punched in the face by officials at the jail in a 10-hour window. So that is a long time. He was taken back to the hospital after midnight, January 8th. According to preliminary autopsy report, he was pronounced dead that evening at 11:25 p.m. So excuse me when I said an hour of during this duration, because I was trying to check the time up here versus when he first got there. So here we got 2311. 2311 on this body cam footage, because they're showing you different angles of the body cam by different officers. So that's why it's a 2 hour and 8 video. And I'm almost 3 hours into this live. Lord have mercy.
Officers on second shift was tased multiple times. The nurse needs to get his vitals to determine if he will be sent out to the hospital.
Okay, let me answer Yvonne's question. Could the hospital have called the jail and said they blood work they showed meningitis? Well, could be. So I don't know how long it would take to get blood work back at the hospital, because naturally, you know, hospitals are very busy with patients coming in and out and staff that can do the blood work that's, you know, there at the time. But could be. They got the results back. They called the jail and said, hey, this guy's really sick. He's ill. He's contagious. He needs to get back here to the hospital. So that's a very, very good question. And that's what happens. As I've read you the symptoms of meningitis, different types of meningitis, it can be deadly. Some are not, what I'm trying to say, bacterial, fungi, just different types. But perhaps this man had been walking around sick. So he's got all these odds against him. He may have medical conditions. He's using drugs, and he's got meningitis. Don't know how long he had meningitis. Don't know if he caught it on the job from a friend, girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever. So you have to topple in all those things. Now you're punching somebody, tasing them. That's not helping somebody that's already sick and possibly don't even know they're sick, disoriented, also from the meningitis. As you heard District Attorney Sean say, he was possibly disoriented from the meningitis. But then also he's on fentanyl. So we don't even know if he's an avid user, regular user, one-time user. What does fentanyl do to you? As far as your disposition, I'll go ahead and look that up as well. So imagine you're disoriented from being sick and using fentanyl. See, the odds were great in this man's favor. And then, as I said, being tased, punched, and then tased, sprayed, punched, obviously couldn't help the situation. Now, I also told you with meningitis, the face can show bruising, but it doesn't have to come from a physical assault. It can just be the symptoms in the body. But see, we're never going to know that, right? Because he got punched. So he did get punched. Now, it'd be different if they say, oh, his face started swelling up, but we didn't touch him. We got the body cam to show we didn't put our hands on him, but you did put your hands on him. You did put your hands on him. Now, did he have a rash when he got to the hospital? See, all that matters. Did he have a rash on his body? Did he get a rash after being released and then arrested? Did a rash happen during the 10 hours of being in the jail? See, 1,000 questions. I will bring you an autopsy result when the medical examiner completes the complete autopsy of Mr. Batts, and maybe we can get a better understanding of his medical condition also versus what happened here in the Knox County Detention Facility.
So we are going to attempt to do that.
Yes.
You got the key. Okay, we need to have the nurse get your vitals, okay?
Come here, Mom. Hey, let's have the nurse look at you. Bats.
I'm going to turn the volume off while I read to you the fentanyl symptoms. Fentanyl produces effects such as relaxation, euphoria, pain relief, sedation, confusion, drowsiness, dizziness, nausea, vomiting, urinary retention, pupillary constriction, and respiratory depression. The side effects of fentanyl are similar to those other opiates, include a rash, skin reaction from fentanyl patch, constipation, headache, dizziness, fatigue, drowsiness, especially soon after a dose, loss of appetite, nausea, vomiting. Fentanyl may also cause drowsiness, stomach pain, heartburn, weight loss, trouble peeing, vision changes, anxiety, depression. Signs and symptoms of fentanyl abuse includes confusion, depression, difficulty walking, muscle stiffness, slowed, altered heart rate, labored breathing. Okay? Stupor, daze, near unconscious, pupil constriction, cold, clammy skin, looking pale. These are all the symptoms of fentanyl use. So you have to ask yourself, a lot of these symptoms of fentanyl is also similar to meningitis. So we're talking about a double-edged sword pertaining to the death of Mr. David Batts, 46-year-old black male, now dead. Okay? That's why I like to do my research before I bring you content. I'm not going to put out anything and spew out anything I don't know. But the autopsy shows that Mr. Batts had meningitis. I will bring you an update to the full report of what happened to him mentally, physically, or whatever they can find. I'll bring you that information. But as I said before, when you don't know the whole story, you want to be careful before you throw out accusations of this and that. But I have watched the video now, and my opinion still stands that I think there was a better way of putting on his clothes, such as what you see here, him down on the floor. I think he may have been less resistive had they sat him on the bench and put his smocks on. He may be alive today. Had he put on his smocks, I don't know. Can't say because it never happened. There were 2 benches in the room. Why didn't you all put him in a seat to sit down? Pull off the shoes, pull off his pants, then put his pants on. Pull his shirt off, then put on the smock. Then escort him to whichever room or cell that he was going to go in. But obviously you all were watching him to keep him in room 5 for a reason. He didn't directly go to a jail cell. In 10 hours, there's no reason for anyone to be in an observation room or a singular room. I think most of you know that, whether you've been to jail or not. 10 hours is a long time to be in what I would call a reception area, okay? This isn't Mayberry. This is a decent-sized facility here in Knoxville, Tennessee. So there's a reason why he was in that one room 5. So I always tell people to pay attention to the details because Yvonne says, well, maybe they got the results later. Well, I think common sense would tell any of us they knew something was wrong with David. That's why he was in room 5 for 10 hours. Checkmate. That's obvious. 10 hours in one room. Stay woke. 10 hours in one room. No way I believe anybody went in the Knoxville Detention Center, sat in a fucking room for 10 hours in one room. One simple, singular room. No. You knew something was wrong with him. Either mental, drug-induced, alcohol. They already knew. They already knew. Because there was just no reason for him to be in a room for 10 hours. You already knew something was wrong with him. Because that's why he was arrested. He seemed out of it. You had to have seen the behavior when you got on the scene at the cat depot. You had to have seen and heard things at the hospital. Then you arrested him at the hospital. You had to have seen it again. Okay? Now, at the depot, at the cat depot, he was not arrested. He was just cited for having drugs, a simple possession. So they sent him to the hospital because they noticed something wasn't right with him. So initially he went to the hospital. So officers knew something wasn't right when he got sent to the hospital. Hospital, you knew something wasn't right with him. 2 nurses say he groped them, wanted to file charges. When he was released, he got arrested at the hospital. So he never was able to go home. He goes to the jail. You all had to have gotten this information from the hospital and the officers that arrested him in the report. So they had to have known something was not right with Mr. Batts in order to keep him in room 5. And that's my take on this case. They knew the signs and they saw the signs. Okay? Things did not turn wrong until, as you see here, trying to get him into the smocks, into the jail smocks. Yeah. opened the door, he wouldn't have died. Yeah, probably not. So, you know. I think there are a lot of factors pertaining to the death of Mr. Batts. I think that's obvious, you know, because once again, we don't know what other type of problems Mr. Batts had as far as, you know, physical ailments. As you see, he's walking in fine. He's in his regular clothes. They've taken off his, work jacket. They've taken off his work pants, his work boots. All that's been taken off. So things just didn't go wrong until, as I said, trying to put on the jail outfits. That's when things went terribly wrong. This video is 2 hours long. It gives you different angles of body cam footage from different officers who were present at the time of his arrest. And as you see, he's a very big guy. He probably was very uncomfortable. You know, all this bending over and lying face down, just shit I ain't never seen before. And I just don't think these people are qualified corrections officers. That's my public opinion. As I told you, being a cop and a corrections officer, they are not the same. They are not under the same criteria of level of experience and training. That's common sense. They're not the same. A corrections officer can't be a cop. Now, a cop can be a corrections officer, but a corrections officer is not a cop. They're not trained as a cop. They don't go through the vigorous training of a cop. I don't think these people are trained in dealing with certain attitudes. They seemed like they were, you know, trying to be cordial to him and talking to him and being, you know, nice to him in the beginning, but it wasn't until they were trying to buckle him down to put on the smocks is where the problem started. And as I said before, when you look into the room where he was held, it had like benches in there for him to sit down. It also had bars for him to hold himself up. He's a very tall guy. So it just didn't really make any sense to be lying somebody flat down on the ground that's over 6 feet tall to put on damn smocks. For what? Why would you lie somebody face down on their stomach to put a smock on? He's already in there. Probably, like I said, you know, he's under the influence. He's sick. He's under the influence of drugs. Don't know if he was a heavy user of drugs or not. Don't know what other physical ailments he had. Don't know, you know, if he started, you know, breathing hard with all this going on, which naturally he would, because you heard that at the end of the video, he was huffing and puffing bad when they had that mask over his under his nose. He was already having respiratory problems by then. We're now 10 hours in at that point. So we're 10 hours in before he's taken to the hospital for the second time. So he was already having probably cardiac problems when they decided to put the mask on him and strap him down and put him on the gurney to go into the ambulance. So here's where you see he's a tall guy. You can look and see he's slumped over. Here, he's a big guy. And he's 9 times out of 10 disoriented, inebriated from the drugs and the meningitis. It's just a very crazy, crazy tale. See right here, putting him down. It just don't make no sense. If all you're doing this to put clothes on someone, when there's benches there, as you see, there are benches. Why not sit him on a bench to put his clothes on? This is strange to me. Okay, Perspective says he didn't look coherent to grope anybody, so I question that accusation. Okay. Somebody says the hospital should have not released him as soon as they did. They could have observed him in the hospital, not the jail. Okay, it's a good question. Very good question. So see, that's why I said you need footage from the bus depot to the hospital, because all that's going to determine what we're seeing here. If we could see how he behaved when they went up to him on the bus, how was he talking? Did he say anything? I read your commentary where the police is saying he didn't really respond to anything, even at the bus depot, okay? So obviously he was incoherent then. That's a long time ago. Okay, it's early in the day. Then he gets to the hospital. We've got accusations that he groped 2 nurses. Do you believe he groped 2 nurses? Are they telling the truth? If he's inebriated and he's not responsible, one could say, well, he didn't know what he was doing. Then somebody could say, oh, yeah, he didn't know what he was doing. You could still be under the influence of drugs and sickly and still know you're groping a person. So where did he grope the women? On their buttocks, their breasts, their frontal? Where did he grope the 2 nurses? Curious. Lots of questions, no answers. Well, they don't have to worry about filing charges now because Mr. Batts is dead. So there'll be no charges filed. FBI is not involved, and the district attorney's office is not filing charges against these officers who dealt with Mr. Batts during his brief stay at the penal farm. That's what we call it here in Knoxville. We don't call it the Roger D. Wilson detention facility. We know it as the penal farm out on Maloneyville Road. That's the latest, everybody. I'm not going to hold any longer because I'm already 3 hours. I had no intention of going this long. But the footage is 2 hours and 8 minutes on my community page. It's also via the YouTube queue. Feel free to watch it. Everything you're watching is going to be a replay because each person had on body cameras. So you're going to get a different angle during the 2 hours and 8 minutes. Okay. So that's what I've been showing you. I started at hour 116 to show you when he got out of the van and how he looked at the time. So that's why you're getting this information in different aspects of who had their camera on. So that's all you're really watching is just a replay of different body cam footage. There you go. Say what? Roger D. Wilson. If you didn't understand me, it's Roger D. Wilson Detention Facility. Let's go to 116 so you can see what he looked like when he got out of the van, okay? And then I'm going to cut this because I want to come back and talk about the latest executive orders by Donald Trump. Oh, who was Roger? I don't know. He probably worked in law enforcement, and they just named the facility after him. Probably a sheriff at one time or something. 1 second, everybody. As you see here, his face is puffy. This is 1 hour 8 right there. You see the cheek where I got the arrow? It's very puffy. The eye looks like it's almost swollen shut. Face is very puffy right there. You see that cheek's protruding out on Mr. Batts. His face is very puffy. Hello, Joe. They look like they got a hairnet over him with a mask attached to a hairnet to keep him from spitting on the officers and staff. But if you look closely, his cheek is swollen. See right there? Well, they keep jumping, but his cheek is very swollen. Right there, you can see it. It's swollen. Where he was punched, eye almost shut. Yeah, they didn't have to punch him. I get it. He didn't want to put his hands in the handcuffs and the mittens and all of that. That's common sense. There he's nodding his head to something. He's probably more calm. See, he's swollen. He's swollen. Look at his face. It's swollen. His eye's about shut. Yeah, that's probably from being punched. Now they say the meningitis can also swell your face to where it looks like bruising. That is what I read to you in the symptoms of meningitis. But I don't think he looked like that when he first got there. So that's why I'm trying to go back to when he got out of the van. This is at the end where he's put on the gurney to go to the ambulance. blocking that out. Why, I don't know. Okay. So let's go to out of the van, and then I'm going to cut it off. Feel free to go watch it at your convenience. Here we go. Now let's look at Mr. Batts' face, and we can determine, or maybe not, I don't know. As you see, he's a very tall guy. He's not a small person. Head almost touching the top roof of the van.
Need help? Get that? Go get it. No, it's not. That's why. You ain't on boxes, buddy. Hang on, you're all tied up in the belt. There you go. How about we do it now? Watch your head now. It's above door, okay?
Swole coming out of there. Can't hardly see. Yeah, he was treated pretty well. I will say that. At the beginning, he was treated well until they tried to put his clothes on.
Do you have anything that's gonna poke me, stick me, hurt me in any way? Do you have any on you're not supposed to have? Keep your forehead against the mat. Keep your forehead against the wall.
He's saying the same thing. You can tell that he's disoriented because he's repeating the same thing over and over.
Turn around, face me. Face the wall.
Just can't see his face good.
Lean back against the wall. You're gonna take off your right wrist restraint. I'm gonna have hold you think of it.
So was his face swollen?
Okay. You're gonna place that hand behind you on the wall.
Or maybe he has high cheekbones. I can't really see his face good to tell.
On the wall. You got any medical conditions, David? Huh? You got any medical conditions? I don't know what.
See, he's repeating the same thing over and over. All right, all right, all right. He's disoriented, Mr. Batts. A good look at his face to tell, was it already puffy? Definitely wasn't that swole, because it looks like his eye was about shut, the right eye, at the end of the video. He's coughing now. So these officers, all of you all need to get checked. You've had contact with Mr. Batts. He has meningitis.
Take off your jacket for me. All right. Place it on top.
So he's got a little puffiness, but not bad. His eyes are not closed shut, as you see.
Take it off.
Can you button your pants? Because I want to take your belt from you. It's trying to walk off.
Take off your jacket off for me. Take this off. How many shirts you got on, brother? How many shirts you got on?
We'll put it in the order, and then we'll take all this up. Keep trying to walk off.
Turn around, face me.
I'm going to stop it here because I'm already 3 hours plus. His face obviously was bruised up to where his eyes were near shut. You can see there briefly that he may have had a little puffiness from, maybe being up all night, smoking, drinking, whatever. Meningitis how far in it was getting ready to set up into his bloodstream system, whatever. But the point is, I've brought you all key points of this video. I've shown you different points of the body cam footage. Feel free to go to my community page and watch it in its entirety. As I said, my assertion is that he was sick. He was sick. He probably had some other health issues. He's under the influence of narcotics, fentanyl. But being punched, tased, sprayed definitely did not help. At the end of the video, you hear him breathing very hard with the mask on, the mask that they put over his head and face. So he was probably going into God knows what, I don't know, cardiac arrest, whatever, because there are pictures of him in the hospital bed. Feel free to go into Google search, and they will show you the worst case scenario of Mr. BATTS in the hospital. I will try to pull up a picture of it. But one thing for certain, he had 2 strikes against him, because meningitis is fatal, can be fatal, and so is the use of fentanyl. Adverse effects of fentanyl can put those who consume this substance in very real danger and can potentially occur very soon after only 1 instance fentanyl use, okay? So he had 2 strikes against him. Now, that's not counting what else could have been wrong with Mr. BATTS. Cancer, HIV, autoimmune diseases, arthritis. I brought you all that information. Feel free to go back during this live to get that said information pertaining to the symptoms of meningitis, okay? But I want to find a picture of him in the hospital so you all can see how he looked before death. Welcome to the Vault Excel. Thank you for tuning into this live stream. It's a very long live stream. I did not plan on going this long. Oh, thank you, Vaughn. Thank you. Hold on one second. We've got pictures of Mr. BATTS in the hospital. This is Mr. BATTS at UT Medical Center. As you can see, the right face is heavily swollen on the cheek. And up here, looks like there's a knot or something above his nose, because that's his nose right there. Excuse me, sorry about that. That's his nose right there under, sitting above that gauze. So you got the gauze, the nose, and then there's a big knot right up there above his nose. Let me zoom in so people can see the picture. That's right between his eyebrows. Mr. BATTS. He was punched in the face a few times. They're claiming tased 4 times and also with pepper spray. So when you combat, as I said, sprayed with drugs, sprayed with mace, pepper spray. So tase, pepper spray, first spray, tase, punched in the face because they said he was trying to bite one of the guy's hands. That's what the guy was yelling during trying to strap him down. This is the final result of Mr. BATTS in the hospital where he died in a hospital. Sorry about that. Screen blinking on and off. Sorry about that, everybody. This is Mr. BATTS. MSN is the source of this information. If you need verification, this is his arrest record. Maybe arrest at another time, because naturally his hair is longer, it looked like. So it doesn't look like his hair while he was in jail. But that's an earlier picture of Mr. BATTS. Don't know when that picture was taken. Here's Mr. BATTS. Close-up picture of Mr. BATTS, probably in ICU. You can see his eye is badly bruised. There's swelling all around the eye area. That's a big bruise there. A bruise under the eye, above the eye. As I showed you the other picture, looks like a knot above his nose. He was in bad shape. You're entitled to believe that these people helped cause the death of Mr. Batts, these officers. But as I said, he did have meningitis. He did also have fentanyl in his system. But I don't believe, I do believe that the beating him and tasing him and spraying him with mace didn't help, okay? Could he have lived? Had he gotten earlier care during the day? Possibly. See, we don't know. It's up to the autopsy. The medical examiner to say at which hour Mr. Batts could have survived, because we're talking about a 10-hour window of being at the facility at 2 p.m. and getting a final rendition at 11:17 p.m. So we're talking about 10 hours and not possibly reaching the hospital until midnight. So when you count that window of time, that's a lot of time going by from the time he was at the job, taken to the hospital, arrested at the hospital, taken to the facility, held up in room 5 for 10 hours, rushed to the hospital, getting into the operating room or whichever, the hospital itself. That's a long ass time. Did these officers help unalive this man? Or was it all meningitis and the use of fentanyl or any other underlying health conditions? That's my commentary. Like, share, subscribe, drop your comments below. Follow the Queen on the Newsbreak app. Go to my community page to watch the entire video footage of each body cam from the officers. I do believe some people covered their body cameras for some reason. You will see all of that in the video, and you can determine for yourself if they aided into the death of this man. If you'd like to donate to this great network, $BeganJi 129 Cash App, stickers and chats are always welcome during the live stream. So how there's going to be a GoFundMe and he's dead? Not making any sense. Sounds stupid. The man is dead. So Yvonne talks about the tubes. Yeah, well, he was breathing hard when he left. So I've already showed you that part of the video where they put the mask on him near the end before he's put on the gurney, and he was probably hyperventilating. You can hear him breathing very hard. You can also hear the other officers coughing and hacking and breathing hard from the spray of the mace. So I said they were stupid to spray that. Why are you going to endanger your own health to spray him, tase him? I don't think the spray or the tase should have been used. That's my personal opinion. It was too many of you all there to hold and contain Mr. Batts. That is your job. You were supposed to be properly trained in how to subdue a person. Now, we get it. They give you the right to use spray and a taser, but we also know that those things can have an adverse effect on a person once sprayed, once tased. You're talking about spraying a person in their eye, that's going in their nostrils, their nose, their eyes. It can have an adverse effect. That's just common sense. And you all are stupid enough to spray your own damn selves because that's what you're doing. When you sprayed him, you were spraying yourself. So that shows me you all don't have no fucking common sense. You're in a small damn area. Mace can travel damn near probably hundreds or so of feet. So you're in a small space tasing someone. It makes no sense to me. Why even use it? Why even use it? Too, before I leave, and I asked you all, did they cause the death of this man? And I'm gonna see what you all had to say.
Put your hand in front of your back for me. Yeah, just for a second.
And then she can, as long as she's cool, and go on with
Hey, straighten your hand out a little bit for us, bud. We don't want to pinch you. Just work with us. There you go. You got anything on your head? You taking anything today? You know who the president is? Hey, 6 quarters, how much is that? How much is 6 quarters?
Obviously, he could not answer the question, how many are 6 quarters. I do believe that these officers knew that something was wrong with Batts. He was there for at least 10 hours. There's a reason why they wanted to check his vitals 2 times. That leads me to believe they knew that something was wrong with him when he got there. The fact he could not answer any questions or commands, they all knew something was wrong with Mr. Batts. Whether somebody called in a diagnosis of his blood work or not, they knew something was wrong with him. I asked you all 3 hours ago, Knox County jail staff responsible for the death of David Batts. Please watch the jail video on my community page. People voted. 90% of you said yes, 10% of you said no, 0% said not sure, and 0% of you said partially. That's my commentary. You all have a wonderful evening. I'm going to take a brief break. I will be back to discuss some of Donald Trump's executive orders, and one of those commentaries is going to be pertaining to jail and prison. Mr. Trump does not want men to be housed in women prisons who claim to be transgendered. I will be back shortly with another live stream. This will be live number 2. Is this a good executive order? There are a lot of orders pertaining to ICE. There are going to be different orders pertaining to healthcare. He's putting a freeze on certain funds. He's also not funding other countries with medical supplies for HIV and other type of medical needs. New executive orders by Mr. Trump. We're going to talk about that in live number 2. Is it right for men to be housed in women prisons? Yes or no? I've asked you this question last year on my community page, where I did a rendition of so many questions. That will be the next poll on the community page. Take the poll. Also, we'll put up a movie of the week. Here in a few minutes, the Queen will be 54 years of age. Happy birthday, Queen. Thank you all for the love, supporting this network. God bless all of you. I'll be back shortly with live number 2. Should transgendered men be housed in women prisons? Donald Trump says no, and I do agree. There are probably 2 things that Mr. Trump has exacted as orders that I do agree with. I do not agree that a man should be in a woman's prison, whether he believes he's a woman or not, claims to be a woman. I say hell no. And also the man and woman box on government papers and paperwork. Mr. Trump believes you're either a man or a woman. There is no X, there's no Y, there's no Z. And I agree. We're all entitled to our opinion. That's the next live, everybody. Thank you for your time. You have been listening to the Bald XL. Thank you. Thank you, sweetheart. Thank you.